Welcome to the K-POPKAST, bringing you the best sounds and ideas in K-pop. And this week, we are giving you K-pop song recommendations as well as the Jackson Wang experience. I am your host. I'm Petey and Michaela. Hello, everybody. But I am not alone today. I'm joined first by Ashley.
Hey, y'all.
And you probably already know her. It's Virginia.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, welcome back. Before we get started, guys, don't forget to check out our Slack channel and newsletter. Links to both will be in the description. And so let's move on to our hit replays. Hit replays are our K-pop song recommendations. We give you each episode songs which we are simply the best based on our highly opinionated, self-appointed expertise. That's why they are the greatest. So first, we're going to move on to actually Jay's hit replay recommendation. She unfortunately couldn't be here, but her hit replay is actually ITZY's Racer. Firstly, she says she's sorry she couldn't be here. She lost her voice, so she wasn't able to come on the podcast today, but she says this is a banger clanger. ITZY is known for their noisy style, and it definitely falls in their signature style. And the song is all about being number one and at the top, and they're going to keep going, which I agree. I feel like ITZY is like really at the top of their game right now, especially after seeing them perform at KCON. Just the energy in the room was amazing when they were on stage.
I really enjoy them.
Right?
Yeah.
Same.
I also wanted to note, she says that this should have been the title track from the Checkmate album because it's just so catchy and, again, just loves all the noisiness of the sound, which we talk a lot about this, that most people don't know what noise music is.
Facts.
But while this isn't necessarily noise music, it's definitely that kind of like banger, clanger, just sound that you really like from them.
Hit, breaking records done. I'm a race. I'm a race. Run, race so fast. 집중해봐 and we go. If you wanna win, let's be born. Ready number one. I'm a race. Run, race so fast. 절대 못 쫓아와. 따라와.
But moving on to our next hit replay, Ashley, what is your hit replay for this week?
While everybody is all in the current times, I am trapped back in time. I have been listening to Miss A, Only You. They are a throwback from 2015. It's a disbanded girl group from JYP Entertainment.
Also from JYP. I'm going to see a trend here.
Yes. And I mean, to this day, the song is still catchy and plays in favor of an empowered woman. But the video's filmed in a way that could be a little interesting in the beginning. But overall, it's you watching the women getting prepared for a party. So some parts of the video didn't age well, but the song is still spot on.
This one, it was always interesting, because I really enjoyed this comeback when it came out, but it was so interesting seeing them go from I Don't Need a Man to If You, which is like all about like because like you said in the music video, you're very much from the male gaze through
Completely.
the whole music video, which it's a 180 from the I don't need a man concept where it's like I'm happy on myself, I got my own things, I don't need to worry about like what a man thinks about me. Where to this is like all that.
And I'm a mess because I rock with both. But I love it's not even catty in the chorus. The verses. It's the fact that they are so aware of like, yeah, I know who I am. I got male friends and whatnot, but I'm picking you. Like, it's a privilege for you to be picked by me. And that's just, it's hilarious, but it works so well.
I mean, that's the way it should be, really.
Full agreement. Full agreement.
Yeah, but Virginia, what is your hit replay for this week?
So I know we're discussing Jackson Wang.
Yeah.
And my hit replay, other than the title songs, not the title songs, but like the 3 pre-release tracks, it's Drive It Like You Stole It. And it's not that deep. I think it's about a one-night stand. The premise is he sees a hot girl in a red dress, and then he's going to have her drive his red car. It's so stupid. Like, he throws her the keys and says, "You better drive it like you stole it." So I presume it means like a bat out of hell or something, right? Like, that's it. That's the song.
You better drive it like you stole it. You better drive it like you stole it. Yeah. Like you stole it. You better drive it like you stole it. You better drive it like you stole it, baby.
The reason why I think it's a hit replay is it's like it's got like sounds really like smoky. The beat, the auto tune, it's sexy. It's the mood. It's just great. I don't always have to be like deep insightful person. It's just great. Drive it like you stole it. I don't know what that means really, but
There's a possibility he might not know either. I mean,
Right?
he's 28, so he more than likely does. But the majority of the people who had a hand in the lyrics of this album were foreign songwriters anyway. So they might know what it could mean. And I'm not saying he's just naive and has no idea, but he might not have an idea.
I'm pretty sure Jackson Wang knows what it's like for someone to drive him like they stole him.
But hey, but that's the great thing about art, right? It's all up to interpretation. Like however you drive it is however the song was, whatever the song means for you.
Look, the line worked for me. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and I'm like, what does that mean? I want it.
Yeah.
that's all I know.
Yeah, this one goes in the cubby I have of songs with interesting titles that I'm trying to figure out. Like it goes right next to "Baby Wanna Dance with a Ghost." Like that.
Wait a minute.
Is that about colonization? What does it mean?
Yeah, this is an NCT song.
It's an NCT song, and it's like, okay, perhaps. I mean, there's vampires in the group. That's not what we're talking about. Sorry, it's my fanfic that will not let up.
Right, but bring it back to Jackson. I guess wrapping it up with my hit replay from the Magic Man album. It's "Come Alive." Really, I think this song kind of stands out for me in the whole album with his vocalization. Like the way he delivers each line is like really sexy and flirty in an interesting way. And then you have this like soulful organs and this like really groovy bass that just like keeps you going through the whole song. So I just keep coming back to it. Like it's just, I feel like it's a great center to the album too. Like you've got the more hype songs at the beginning, like the Champagne and the Drive It Like You Stole It,
right?
And the blows. And then this is kind of like to that transition in the album where we like, kind of start to bring it down. And we talking about like how it's all in English, and so not necessarily every word has like very like special meaning to it. But in one of the recent interviews that he did with Rolling Stone, he kind of mentions that he's going to make a music video for this song, and that the music video itself is kind of going to be kind of that ending, kind of encompassing all of the whole meaning of the album in it. And it's going to have this like dark and like creepy vibe, but also very humorous. which is my whole aesthetic. So I feel like that's another reason why I gravitate toward this song. And so I love that it was validated by what Jackson said.
That's awesome. Because, because he's directed, or he's directed some of his videos, right? And then he's also, like, he's just, like, all the other directors that I've seen of the behind the scenes talk about just how great his vision is and how thorough it is. And I don't know if you saw, like, the behinds of Cruel, and then the, like, it's not necessarily the behind, but it's the blocking videos.
Oh, the annotated one where it's like actually the writing on it of saying what's occurring.
Yeah.
Like seeing him get dragged for that. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's so good. I feel like, let's say he wants to retire, like, singing and stuff. He would be so good as, like, a music video director or a director in general. Like, he just has such a specific vision. And I know we're, like, going off topic, but in general, like, I really fuck with it. I really fuck with Jackson Wang. Team Wang. Yay!
Right. I think that it's time for us to transition to our how you doing, where we're just going to talk more about Jackson. Because I feel, at least my how you doing thing today is Magic Man, because one of the reasons why we're having this episode today is because I just really wanted to talk about this album. Because it's just, I feel like we've been waiting so long for it. Like, Blow came out and we've had months and months of kind of like anticipation for this to come out. And so to finally have it, I feel like there's just so much to it that we have, because we've seen him promoting it for so long and telling stories about it. And now you finally get to see kind of like where those stories match up with those songs, and you can see kind of where these things are coming from.
Yeah. No, you're right. He had a really long ramp up, right? Because he was at Coachella. He's doing all the 88 Rising stuff, right? And then, like, I think the Head in the Clouds festival. He's just on, like, every podcast possible.
Right.
He took over Steezy, like, it's just everywhere.
Yeah. His story on the KINJAZ podcast made me cry.
I haven't heard it yet.
Because he was talking about kind of where sort of Magic Man comes from, like this concept and the title of the album. And it really just comes down to, he was just so focused and deep in his, just trying to get everything perfect, that he really wasn't taking into account that he was like, his mental health and his physical health. And his producer stops him and is like, hey, we're going to take a second and just talk about what's going on with you, because there's definitely something going on and you're not addressing it.
Yeah.
And how that one moment of being able to talk about your problems with the people you care about was so magical for him, because he had never done that before. He had never wanted to go to the people in his life with his problems, because, he, from his perspective, it didn't seem like that would help him at all. Which, guys, if you're struggling, talk to people. Like, that's like the first step in being able to heal from a hard time.
I found the episode really endearing, because even with him publicizing these things, it's not easy. It's nothing easy about, hey, I'm having a hard ass time, and it is out of character and out of everything that I've ever known about myself. But it also, the other side of that, the drive and energy to work that hard, when will this man sleep? Like, he's not had a legitimate, real down moment in 8 years. At bare minimum, a couple of days, maybe a few weeks in between albums or promotions or appearances. It's a lot. So I do worry about where the magic is going to be involved in hiding him from the rest of us so that he can rejuvenate.
He probably is of the, like, mindset of, we'll sleep when we're dead, right? Like, there's that.
Yeah, but that's scary. And been there, done that.
Don't die so early, right?
Yep, exactly.
But I wonder, a lot of it, too, is, like, you're, like, when Michaela was talking about how he, doesn't talk to people about his struggles, I'm always reminded of that episode where they surprise him with his parents.
In Roommates. Yeah. In the Roommate season 2, where they have a Christmas special.
Yeah.
And they JYP brings his mom out from, I think she was in Hong Kong at the time.
Yeah.
And he hadn't seen her in like, what, 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, like since he became a trainee or something, right? And like even thinking about it, I get all like choked up, and I'm just like, oh. And so it's just that like he probably had to compartmentalize himself so much, like for training and like learning a new language, learning new body movements, and like obviously he was pretty driven before to be like Junior Olympics,
Right. And athletes.
right? Like that's not like just something you do in your spare time, right? Like, so he's clearly a really driven person. And like, I think you have in your notes, like how his progression from Papillon to now, like
light years.
Like I will admit, when I first got into like K-pop and was checking him out, because I'll be, I'm Chinese, Taiwanese, so I'm like a little bit more biased when I see like, Chinese Taiwanese members, right? It's like, oh, and like I really want to root well for them, right? Like,
I respect that. Yeah.
And I was just like, why is his solo stuff so like mediocre? But it grew on me, like Papillon grew on me, and then like Fendi Man, the first time I heard it, I was like, what is this bullshit? But now I'm like, Fendi Man. It's a banger. It's like, what's become of me? But like, so those things took time to like grow on me, right? But now it's just like, oh, he's just like his musicianship, his like abilities, which like you would hope to see growth, right? Like, but it's nice to see it so pronounced, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, this whole album, I think he's also mentioned, has like, it feels like a reset and the beginnings of like the most true expression of like who he is. And I like how he says he's not saying that, what he had done before wasn't really him. It was just kind of this one part of him that was, the him who was an idol at JYP, who was the rapper. And, kind of having that label probably like sticking with him that whole time until, finally being free and finally being able to walk his own path and like express everything that he wants to. So I like that he doesn't necessarily say that all of that was just like fake, but it was just a different part of him. And this one is kind of like getting closer to the truest part of him.
I'm digging that so much, just because it's something that many of us can relate to. With you have a facet of yourself that arrives at work. You have a facet of yourself that arrives amongst the outer layers of your associative circle. And the further you get in, the more and more that they know you. But acknowledging that, PD, like you did, I've been picking and prodding at this for the longest. I keep thinking of the 7 of them in GOT7 and of the foreign member line, the Ameri Taekwon line. I'm wondering, is he the most visible member at this point? And I don't know if that's because I live in the United States and this album was made to appeal to us, or is he actually the Beyonce or the Justin Timberlake, depending upon how you want to interpret controversy, of his group. It's really been on my mind, and it's really interesting to me.
No, I totally don't think it's because he's the most like accessible to America. It's because he's worked the hardest. I'm not saying that Mark Twain and Bam Bam haven't worked, right? But like, this man used to take 6 months to promote with GOT7 and then 6 months to do his own shit. Like, we haven't even talked about his like side hustle group, Pan the Pack, which was excellent.
I love them.
Like, and then his clothing line, and like, he just does a ton of shit, and he like, I mean, we're going to talk about Mark Twain later, but like the difference in caliber, they're not even comparable. They're not even in the same league, So I don't, like, if you put in the work, it shows, right? Like, hard work never betrays. Well, until white supremacy comes in. But, like, it's just, he's done the work. And admittedly, maybe he has better PR than like Mark and Bam Bam, but like Bam Bam was like super popular in Thailand, and like, just, I don't know very much about him, but I think if I did, I would love him a lot too, right? Like, so, because he's just like my kind of person. So I think he just clearly stands out because he's put in the work. Again, this is not saying the other people aren't working hard or aren't talented or don't deserve to do well, but like he's clearly put in the work, you know?
And in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
I feel like with the other members, I feel like that progression is probably something we'll see in a few more years versus, you know, Jackson's worth ethic getting it all done in a compact amount.
Right. And that's why he's so tired, probably.
Right.
Because, like, so, I mean, I'm not saying there's a good way and a bad, like, his way is better. It's just different, right? Like, just a sharper trajectory.
I like those outcomes. I like the wider scope of looking at it. I cannot even remotely compare to his level of grind. Every time I do something, I see new news about him, and I'm like, look, the devil works hard, but Jackson Wang works damn harder. And it's just,
Right.
I'm blown away by it. But I also remember being in my 20s and pushing myself to those levels of extremes because there's a portion in the back of your mind is like, I'm gonna get too old and I feel like doing this. I've got 9 years over him. I'm in a business plan competition right now for my third business. I'm tired as hell just looking at the emails. So I understand the energy for the grind being in his 20s and so close to his 30s, but it springs up some other questions too.
Yeah. Well, like also, like, Michaela, you were saying how, like, oh, he was trapped in that rapper image. And I feel like he tried really hard to, like, say, like, hey, I'm a guy who raps. I'm not a rapper.
He was clear as hell
He's very
about
clear.
that. I am a guy who raps. Like, it is a
Right.
skill set that you can learn, just like you can learn dance and everything. But he never played that role of, oh, yeah, I'm a rapper. No, I'm a guy who raps. This is how they cut my check until further notice.
Right. Which,
And I appreciate that, you know?
yeah, which is why for me, going back to kind of got 7 of it all, of if you do, like Nega Hamyeon, like that song for me is kind of something that kept coming back in my mind, like seeing this album and seeing all his recent releases, because it was that kind of like angsty, grungy image that you see in this music video. And I remember seeing him in that and like the character that he plays in that music video almost kind of like feeling like it made me look at him different. And I wonder if it was because like that concept and that look was the closest to kind of like what he really wants to do. And we at least see it in the hair, right? Like he still got that. We were talking off camera, right? The very bleached, washed out hair.
Which
The
could be a
dusty look.
part of the character, like we were talking about off camera. It could be. So we're just getting introduced to Magic Man. And I'm
Right.
super loud and vocal about my concerns about his holistic well-being. And that Magic Man aspect of him having this super washed out hair that makes him look very depleted, that could be a part of giving you all of what I can as this Jackson from 100 Ways all the way to this album, where now I need that to dismantle. I need that to come apart and I need to vanish for a moment. So this could all be a character. In some interviews, he has presented this facet of himself as a character of Jackson who he's playing. So the hair could be part of character. Really could be.
Also, it reminds me a lot of Blow, right? All the powder. I don't know if it's like Blow also for like Coke, but you know, somebody has to stay up a certain way, you know, like, and then also like Cruel, right? All that fire burning, it's like ashy and stuff like that. So like well, not ashy in the sense of his skin, but like ashen in terms of his skin, but like his hair, like there's like gray and blonde, it's all washed out. So I can see that, like it being connecting all these disparate songs together, just visually.
See, this just makes me feel bad because she said Blow isn't Coke, and my brain is like, no, that's another letter that starts with C word.
I mean, we can blow that too. That's fine.
Nothing to do with that. My brain is in a very different place with the things that are going on in that video. So, I mean, it's fun and it's the magic of music, of course. And he's very aware of that there's no point in giving definition when people are going to interpret and reinterpret and misinterpret however they feel. So it's dope. Like, this was one hell of a project.
Yeah.
Right. Is there anything else that we want to talk about? And before we wrap it up and move on to our Daebak or not rapid fire.
Can I have a fangirl moment for just 30 seconds?
Oh, yes. The floor is yours.
Whatever you want.
I don't even need that much. Jackson Wang. Jackson, I told you in 2018, if you want some, come get some. Jackson, you have got to stop playing with innocent people like this. Jackson Wang, I don't know what you think you're doing, but you need to back off. Jackson, if it's not an invitation, stop throwing it out there like it's a party. I can't take it, and other innocent people have not either. This album tried to chokehold all of us like a Popeye's biscuit with no honey and no water. I need you to back off. I need you to find a way to not be like this. But I'm proud of what you're doing. I'm very proud of you.
Popeye's biscuit.
I can't think of nothing else that will choke you out without any regard more dangerously than a biscuit from there that is not received fresh. And that's all I had to say. I just needed a few seconds to get that off my chest.
Oh, everyone else muted, so it's just me, the asshole on the line, just cracking up.
I've been waiting to tell this man, like, stop these games, sir.
Respectfully.
Respectfully.
Oh, I love this. Thank you. Thank you, Ashley.
Blend me up like the chicken you eat in your stupid smoothies. Like, why does he do that to himself? The look on Bam Bam's face when he saw that, he's like, why would you do that?
Bam Bam, because everyone doesn't have the metabolism that you have, our skinny legend.
Right. Speak on it.
I wouldn't mind Jackson putting on just a little bit more weight again. No matter what he looks like, it's absolutely devastating. He's just a phenomenally gorgeous human being. But
Yes,
boy,
agreed.
there was a time when them thighs was thigh-ing. So it's just interesting. And I'm just going to mute myself now before I go on a tangent. No,
Look,
no.
The listeners are used to me going off about sugar.
But see,
So
that's
I
the
feel
thing.
like-
They're used to you doing that.
Right. The more the merrier, I feel like. Jackson Wang's tattoos, though. Can we talk about his pretty tattoos?
Yes, yes.
So pretty.
The floor is yours, Virginia.
They're just so pretty. Like, you know, like sometimes people have tattoos and you're like, well, that's unfortunate. But, you know, it's your body. Do what you want. But like Jackson's tattoos are just like, oh, those are so pretty. And it's like
Right.
so artfully done. And it's like, oh, if I had ribs that nice, I would also tattoo I have a tattoo on my ribs. It doesn't look quite the same, right? Like,
Mine does not. Mine definitely does not look like that. And I got a rib tattoo too.
right? Well, I'm like 4.5 months pregnant, so I definitely don't look like that. Let's just say I was like, oh, that's not gonna age well, no. That does not look good. But anyway, I'm done. I just want people to remember his skin and how. Oh, that's the thing. Why is he always shirtless? And how can we get him to also be pantsless?
My laugh is too big to be on this microphone. I could have pierced y'all ears. I had to mute myself. I feel like that's a great question because when have we seen him in shorts since he was in Big Bang? I'm sorry, Big Byung. Let me say it
Right.
correctly.
Right.
Like, he
Now
hasn't
that I
been in
think about
shorts
it.
since the Big Water Bottle concept group. So I don't. Well, no, that's incorrect. We're wrong because he was in shorts. Well, he had on fitness leggings underneath that when they
Right.
did the photo
feel like
of
that-
their debut again. Yeah.
It doesn't count.
Yeah, fitness leggings, are nice. There's that. He's taking those like gym selfies, and you're like,
The violence.
right? You're like, why? Why? Continue, but why? But I'm like talking like Taehyung in Vogue magazine booty shorts.
Ooh.
So we can yell, hey, gray shorts, out the window at him. That's what I want.
Okay. I think we're gonna wrap up this section now.
I'll just stop now. Daebak or not. Sorry, folks.
Maybe before we wrap, maybe just talking about because Jay couldn't be here. So I do want to
that's
read
right.
her comments. She says for her favorite song on the track is Cruel, especially because of his Coachella performance, where he plays women like a guitar and is just the sexiest thing in the world. Another thing about this was that Coachella performance, because if we could just speak on that quickly, I feel like it's a great little pinpoint in the beginning of his career, especially when you talk about like his major push into the Western market and how, and performing at Coachella, even though it's like technically part of like the 88 Rising part of Coachella, it's still, you know, this huge, like very, very like iconic music festival here in the US.
The fact that he started his set with the song we had no referential anything with and made such a dynamic impression with that. Between Cruel and Dopamine, they are running parallel with each other in terms of my favorites. But the production on the album as a whole, but the production, there's just something stanky about Cruel that's just irreplaceable. You've got this guitar, his refrain at the bridge. It's just, he was singing his ass off. For him not to be a person who can like sing down, for lack of non-urban AAVE explanation, someone who has a lot of prowess in singing, he was doing great vocal work on that song, and he was within his comfort level. It's really, really good. It's really, really good.
Yeah, it's a good song. It's probably my favorite track total off the whole album. But yeah, it's, you know what I found? I'm realizing that I feel like he finally has figured out how to use his voice. You know, because it's kind of like smoky, husky, right? I think my favorite song of his of all time is still probably Who's Gonna Drive You Home.
Oh, I love that song. Oh my God, I love that song.
That song was like in my top 3 or top 5 played songs of like 2021. It was like, I just wore that track out on Spotify.
Same.
But it's like, but I feel like he's really good at that kind of like desperate sound. You know what I mean? Like you know how like Selena Gomez is really good at like sounding like she's always on the verge of tears.
Oh, okay.
You know,
was that like on purpose?
Well,
I learned something new.
But like Jackson Wang, I feel like he's finally figured out how to use the timbre of his voice, right? Like effectively. Right. And I'd love to see it.
So tour, question mark?
Hopefully it's bound to happen. I mean, for crying out loud, the man opened. I mean, I understand there were other people on stage, don't get me wrong, at Coachella, but in my brain, Jackson opened up for CL. Because he was before her. So the set had to deliver. So it's bound to happen. This man has been all over, both individually and with his group. You can't convince me that in these visits, when he's doing his promotions and marketing and whatnot, that they're not scoping out potential venues. It has to happen.
Oh, I guess I had to break my promise about not buying any more concert tickets.
It might not be this year.
Well, I'm gonna have a baby next year. I can't go to no fucking concerts next year.
I mean, this is understood. Yeah.
Oh, but if he performs in Taiwan when I'm there, then I'll buy Taiwan tickets.
There we go.
See, that's unbeatable. You can't beat that.
Okay, right. So wrapping up, some other stuff has happened in the world of K-pop this week. So we're going to do a quick rapid fire Daebak or not and get our thoughts on those topics. So first, are we Daebak or not on Mark Twan's new album?
Not.
And
it pains me because we have the same last name.
Yes,
we're both Taiwanese.
I'm also a not. What Virginia? I think you had a few things that were really pointed as to like why we're in this corner.
I just don't understand how someone with so much money and like a pretty good voice and like experience in like a big K-pop group can have something so mediocre. Like it's just generic sounding. This like I can't tell whether he just has like bad taste. I don't know if he's surrounded by like yes men. I don't know if he just didn't pay enough money for people to make his songs. I don't know. I'm not a music artist, so I don't know.
I don't think we were the audience.
No.
Ooh.
No.
Okay.
I think that's why it didn't appeal to us. We're solidly adult. And though he is as well, there is a level of stuntedness that comes from being cultivated and raised in an entertainment company. Despite your family being involved, you are developed by JYP Entertainment. So there's some experiences that you're having that this is, without a shadow of a doubt, an emo album. We're not emo right now.
Well,
It might connect if we were in a different place emotionally.
No,
Right.
no. I
Okay.
mean, okay, fair, but I like emo music.
I do
there's-
too, but do you
there's
like
nothing-
recent emo or the stuff you were listening to when we were in high school?
I mean, look, I'll listen to anything that makes me want to feel like slitting my wrist. Trigger
yeah,
warning.
yeah.
Okay, so like, but this isn't even emo. It's like emo light. It's like it's like the LaCroix of emo music, right? The LaCroix of emo music. It's like someone who once felt emo once spat in some water and then made music, and that was Mark Twain's album. Like, oh, that seems excessively mean, but but yeah, sorry to the Mark Twain fans. It was not good.
Got it. Okay. So let's move on to our last one. All right. So are we Daebak or not on Lee Soo-man leaving SM allegedly?
Oh, 대박이다. 대박.
너무? I don't know. Because I personally don't know a lot about the situation. I would say it's Daebak because I don't know. I feel like he just kind of like was Kwangya. And then if he's out, then it's like now they're kind of forced to kind of do the thing that they were kind of pushing on everybody to do. I don't know. It just feels like he's just like, hey, do this, and then he leaves, and then now everybody has to figure out what Kwangya is.
Partially true. More so like 70% true, TBH, because yeah, he did manifest that. And they did in their press releases and whatnot on Naver earlier in the day of this recording. We're like, yeah, we didn't want him to leave because we still have projects that are in the pipeline. We've got groups that are preparing for debut, and we just want his vision and whatnot, which I feel is just a really creative way of saying, you started this shit, don't you go nowhere.
Exactly.
But that man has done a lot. He's gone from being an artist to exploring what the industry could be and exploiting it to some degrees, from being here in the United States when Michael Jackson was the thing, to coming back and only running the label as the CEO for a very brief time, even though he is the face that we're most familiar with because it's named after him. But he's done his part, and his greatest wish was to see Girls' Generation be back together again for a final project, and they delivered on that. I feel like this is the time, and clearly so does he. And he's produced for others, like the fact that he loves Luna and did production for them.
Right.
He just wants to be able to step off, and he deserves that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if he wants it, then it's Daebak. If he doesn't and he's being like squeezed out, then it's not.
He
But
was
I'm
begging
sure-
for it. Yeah,
So I'm
he
sure
was begging.
there's like
Yeah.
other people with vision. So like otherwise it's not a really good it can't last through generations, right? Like
Right. It's time for Sunny to step up and take over the company, right? That's
Oh,
that's
boy.
yeah, that probably won't happen. But I would love to see more women leading that company. I mean, they're already the backbone musically and creatively, but like actually being the face and the ones really in the front. I feel like that would be great to see in the future. Okay. All right, so moving on. Are we Daebak or not on Wonho's concert photography? Ashley, can you explain a little bit more about this one?
Yeah.
I had to pull that snort back in. It was about to go all over the place. So to keep this as brief as possible and to keep me from snorting in the microphone, thus destroying the entire experience for the lovely listeners, Wonho has been on his tour, which for the most part has been fairly successful. However, there's been an ongoing delay with the photography, and some people did receive their photos while quite a bit of others did not. And for those who did not, They received them today or within the past 24 hours, and a filter has been applied to it that looks like comic book or cartoon character design, almost reminiscent of that filter that makes you look like a Disney character.
No.
And
ooh.
people are flaming pissed, rightfully so, because they
Yeah.
paid for a particular outcome and did not get it. But it's absolutely ridiculous. And you have people looking in different directions instead of those who were responsible for the photography actually getting everyone centered and focused. It's evident that it was rushed and dismissive of
no.
the fans' experience. But I ain't shit sometimes. So I've been in tears laughing. And I really want to make this episode my opportunity to apologize to all of those fans because some of these pictures is dragging my ass right now on Twitter. And I just can't. So I'm sorry for you all. I am. And they do deserve to have a better experience and at bare minimum have their funds reimbursed because this isn't what they signed up for at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is hilarious. But I'm still saying this is not for me. Because as somebody who spent so much money to buy that Japanese photo book of him like naked in a bathtub, like if that came to me with some corny filter on it, fires. Just that whole company just in flames. Because no,
Yeah.
you don't put a filter on Woho. His body is his body for a reason.
He's got quite a body, I have to say. I'm not keen on his face, but his body's nice. Like, put a bag on his head. It's fine. I'm sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm a terrible person. He's very sweet. And I would say that if you're going to pay that much money to, like, be in a photo taken by a professional for an idol, then you better be fucking in focus and they don't, like, try to hide their bullshit behind some cartoon filter. Like, it's funny for us on the internet because we didn't pay money for it and we get to enjoy it for free.
Right.
But if I paid for it, I'd be pissed off. So yeah, I would say not.
I'm going to say not as well and just want to circle back on this because there's bound to be somebody in the world who listens to this, clips out audio and be like, see, I told you, don't she an auntie? That's not what it is. This is hilarious. There's no denying that. Facts are facts. They still need their money back.
Right. They can both be true at the same time.
Absolutely. There can be more than one truth here.
And the truth is, Wano just needs an OnlyFans.
Let's fucking go. I'm sorry. I thought I was on mute. Let's go. Stop with the shenanigans.
Right? Like, who's this photographer? Who is taking these, like, booty shots of him? Or, like, these, like, bless this person.
Okay. Because it's a rapid fire. Let's move on.
Oh, sorry.
Next. Are we Daebak or not on NCT 127 Two Baddies?
I haven't heard it yet. But from what I've seen, it seems, yes, Daebak.
Okay.
I am going to say it's Daebak. 그런데 I'm having a hard time with it. And I even said that line just incorrectly. 그리고. It's Daebak, but I'm having a hard time with it. I got questions. Who are the two baddies? Is it me and one of them in the car? Or are they saying like, man, I'm too bad. Like, I'm too dope. So they just saying I'm a baddie and using the colloquialism incorrectly. I've got a lot of questions.
Or maybe they're saying too bad.
It could be that. I did question that on Twitter. I want clarification so that when I'm walking around as the senior citizen that I am, singing this at the top of my lungs, I want to be able to answer for the cool kids who will judge me.
Actually, you really can't say you're a senior citizen because I'm actually much older than you. So.
We might be close, but not much. I'm not giving you the word much. Unless you got 8 over me, it ain't much.
Maybe. I can't remember who you said you were 8 older than, but I'm definitely
9 older.
Oh, 9 older. Well, okay, close.
I'm just gonna be quiet on that one, but I'm a Daebak because I can't wait to see this one in concert. Because I was one of the few people who got tickets to the Link in LA.
Nice.
So hopefully I get to see this one in person, and maybe it'll make more sense then.
Yes. You and the God smiled on your internet.
You know what? I banded a few, like it was me and like 3 of the other guys in my office, and I commissioned them to help me get it.
All right. So I guess next is Sulgi's A24 feature.
Yeah, this is just me because, you know, as the resident rebel of this of this podcast, I have to. Are we Daebak or not on Silgi's new solo?
Oh yeah, it was Daebak. It was. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Is this for a movie? Is this for an album? I think it's for an album. I'm confused, but I'm here for it.
Right. Okay. Also Daebak. There's no question.
No.
Like again, my aesthetic is like dark and like, you know, grungy and like scary, but also with like I feel like there's like Silgi adds like a beauty to it because she is just stunning.
Yes.
That there's like the beautiful blend of aesthetics that I really love. Okay. Are we Daebak or not on Blackpink's Shutdown?
I'm Daebak.
I have to admit, I'm Daebak. Yeah.
Okay. I haven't heard it, but I'll just say Daebak because it's more Blackpink music.
No, you know what? It's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I don't know if it would be as good if they didn't sample Paganini's La Campanella, but I would argue that most songs, if they didn't sample something, wouldn't be that good. Right? So I just really like it. I feel like it's a Blackpink sound, but different enough, if that makes sense.
Right. And you know what? Then I'm definitely Daebak if it's anything that's like moving away from the Teddy formula and even if it's just a little bit, like if it's something experimental and not just the same Blackpink sound. Because we were passing around, I think there was like the edit of Aaliyah's song with Pink Venom.
Oh.
And it was like the rap sounded so good on that one. It's like if Blackpink was again just not necessarily firing Teddy, like he can be involved, but like if we just did something that was like different, it would make them shine so much more. Especially now that they're like,
can he be involved? Should he be involved?
The thing is, I feel like it's not so much that the songs are bad in isolation. It's just that altogether they all start sounding the same. It's like Taylor Swift, right? Like Cardigan's a good song, but that whole fucking album I couldn't make it through because it was the same fucking 45-minute long song. So then it's not so good. You know what I mean? But like Cardigan in and of itself, great. So
all right. So are we Daebak or not on SM Town returning to the US?
Oh my God, please. Daebak Giselle.
Right. Yeah. So they recently just had SM Town in Japan, right? I believe. So and it was the first kind of like big SM Town in a while, and it was just with Girl Generation coming back and TVXQ performing together. It was just it was the first time it really felt like everything, like it served not only like the new like 4th gen, 3rd gen fans, but also like the 2nd and 1st gen fans too. Because like
nice.
even Kangta was out there on the stage doing his thing.
No, I really like SM sound, so that it's all good for me.
Right. And it's been, 2008, right, was the last SM Town in New York.
Oh, really?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, and it's considering like where SM has been in the past few years, it's so surprising that we haven't had one in the US recently. But especially now, like with, you know, the camp festival and, you know, KCON kind of seemingly pivoting towards like the Gen Z crowd, I feel like now is the time for us to have like a more diverse kind of K-pop musical festival here.
Oh, yeah.
And so I feel like there's more, I don't know, I feel like there's less of the Mnet monopoly now. I don't know. But that's just my opinion.
I think it's beyond time. I can't imagine the financial overhead of bringing that many people here again.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm fearful of the tickets. Yeah, I'm very fearful for what the tickets could be. Oof. But man, to see Girls' Generation again, they came for KCON LA at one point in time, and it was really, really awesome. But to see them again, and just any of the artists for that matter, possibly the debut of some of the rookies, it would be really exciting. But I can only imagine how much that's going to cost.
Right. We've talked about this on the show before, but like, you know, even though SM Town SM as a company is still like doing a lot of like really like major moves in the industry, they're still not necessarily like the strong company that they were before. Like they've lost blue chip status. So they're like trying to sell shares to, you know, to to get. Who knows if that will actually happen, but I would love to see it. So I'm definitely Daebak on that idea. Not Daebak on the ticket prices, though. That actually reminded me that's gonna suck.
Oh yeah, all our wallets, man. 2023.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and last but not least, because this is something that was a big discussion in our Slack channel. Are we Daebak or not on Loco getting married? Because
Tuhasa? I mean,
yeah,
we're all speculating.
That's the thing is though he's very like, oh, it was an old friend from like back in the day that I grew up with, and so it's presumed, we all presumed once it was like, oh, he's getting married, it was going to be Uhasa because they recently released this really like amazing collaboration like singles where they just had the best chemistry in the world. And personally, I thought they were like already married and like had an apartment together and we're about to adopt a dog. like I got all of those vibes, but it kind of seems like it's clear that he's not actually marrying Hwasa. It's actually some other person, which is okay. But I mean, it was right there.
Always had been. And we don't know, if they ever dated or not and whatnot. I would have liked that, but it's not about us anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I think anytime someone finds someone who's willing to tolerate them 90% of the time, that's a great thing.
Especially because last year we had Joy and Crush like announcing that they were dating, and before they had like done this collaboration, which was all about like how much Crush like loves Joy, and she's like the what was it, the female lead of his music video, and so it was so cute to have that along with the idea that they're actually in a relationship. So to have Hwasa and Loco like have that and then also be married and like, I don't know, because I love like Hyuna and Dawn, how they have a very public relationship and are engaged, and it's like, oh, it's so cute, and it's a real, it's not like a fake relationship, which is a lot of what K-pop is. It's just us, imaginary ships.
Or leaked relationships.
Or leaked relationships, right?
Not that I'm referring to anything recent.
JB, excuse me.
All right, I forgot it. We won't talk about that one. Let's wrap it up. Right. So we covered a lot this episode. So let's wrap it up, guys. This was our episode for the third week of September. So wrapping it up, let's promote the things and tell people where they can find you on social media, starting with Ashley.
You can catch me, your favorite foreign Korean music historian, exploring all the industry from A to Z at my podcast, A3 Day, which is for an album a day, where I am exploring every single album in all of K-pop. You can listen to that at www.a3daypodcast.com or on your favorite podcasting platform. And you'll be able to find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, right with the A3 Day podcast handle.
Okay, and Virginia?
I'm Virginia. You can follow me on the Mandarin Mama on Twitter or Instagram. And I'm the entertainment editor for Mochi Magazine, the longest running Asian American women's magazine. So check us out. And that's it.
And you can follow me at Michaela J K-pop on Twitter. You can follow all of the K-Popcast crew at the K-Popcast on Twitter. And again, all of us are in the Slack. So if you want to continue this conversation about anything we talked about, links again are in the description. Thank you guys for joining me and hearing me on this very Jackson magic adventure.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
I didn't even want to get into my tin hat theory about Blue actually being the redemption of him not being part of the Shang-Chi album.
Oh.
Because we, allegedly he was supposed to be a part of that, but, because of geopolitical reasons, he had to not be part of that.
Geopolitical reasons?
Because, the CCP wasn't happy about that film.
Oh, I mean, it's a terrible film, so I understand. But
yeah, and so him pulling out of the project was allegedly because of that. And so, but like the visuals for Blue kind of like remind me a little bit of, scenes from that movie. And then also it almost feels like a song that could have been on that soundtrack. But
the
again,
soundtrack is good.
That's just my theory.
I thought it was a love letter to his fans. It sounded a lot like I'm sorry, I'll make it up to you to me.
Ooh. Okay, that's probably what it was.
No, I mean, it could be anything. This man has completely said, I don't give a F what you think about it. Interpret it how you want. Like, he's serious.
Am I back?
Okay, well, bye, guys.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
This, that, pink venom, this, that, pink venom, this, that, pink venom. Get 'em, get 'em, get 'em. Straight till you don't like. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Straight till you don't like. Taste that pink venom, taste that pink venom, taste that pink venom. Get 'em, get 'em, get 'em. Straight till you don't like. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Straight till you don't like. 원한다면 provoke us. 감당 못해, and you know this. 이미 퍼져버린 shot that potion. 네 눈